Famcast Media, bitch.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, persons of all ages, welcome to the most exclusive group in the wrestling community. Now first, hailing from Barrio Ingenio in Toa Baja, Puerto Rico, Sazón Luis Rodríguez and his tag team partner from Toronto, Canada, Tyler and Skip.
Welcome everyone to Must Love Wrestling. I am Lewis, and we got our boy Tyler over here, and we are finally doing this, guys. We're finally on video.
Yeah, what's going on, everybody?
Yeah. How excited are you about this, Tyler? You get to see God's gift on camera here.
Yeah. How excited am I about my face being on camera?
I love it. It's
Not
beautiful.
especially.
That's a beautiful face. I love it.
Yeah, sure. That's why we covered up with all this fur.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I have a big beard too. But yeah, guys, we kind of, we wanted to jump into it. We have a fun segment after intermission this week, and we kind of wanted to jump right into it. So, Tyler, how about we, what do you want to talk about first? You want to talk about the past couple pay-per-views, or you want to just jump right into Wrestle Talk?
Yeah, man, we can talk about the pay-per-views for a little bit. There were, anything I watched last weekend was exceptional. Granted, I only saw the championship match and the Anarchy in the Arena match for AEW.
Yeah. I was thrilled with the entire weekend. I thought NXT put on a good show. I thought AEW put on a good co-main event and main event. The rest of the show was kind of like meh. And then obviously the whole pay-per-view in Saudi I thought was awesome. Triple H is on a hot streak. We're about to hit a year, right? Because he took over before SummerSlam last year.
Like right before SummerSlam, yep.
Yeah, so we're about to hit a year, and he has not had a bad pay-per-view at all. So it's been very exciting to watch. Wrestling has been so much fun. We know about all like the ratings and all the metrics and all that stuff that they talk about, and WWE's just been so high. But in terms of in-ring work, I thought all three pay-per-views did an exceptional job.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the whole Night of Champions show. And for the most part, I mean, the whole NXT show was really good. Yeah. I actually thought it tailed off a little bit. I don't think the main event was amazing or anything. It was fine.
Mm-hmm. I don't think those two have the best chemistry. Yeah, agreed.
Exactly. Yep. But that seems to be over now, and a new challenger on the horizon.
Yeah, I mean, the best thing I could say about NXT is I feel like they definitely have a star in Dragunov. He is just so special. And the one thing I was thinking about this week, because I was worried that he might have to deal with like the Asuka ramifications or the Andrade, I had no idea how clear his English is. So I think that that's actually going to help him. And he actually cuts a really good promo. So I think he could turn out to be like this like era's William Regal.
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities there for sure.
Mm. Yeah, they're very innovative in their offense and all of that.
Hard hitting.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Believable.
Yeah. I mean, it sucks that Dijak has to be like used in this this way that he's used kind of like to help bolster younger like guys and stuff. But what I really enjoyed about it was that he did such a good job with him. Like the match itself I thought was so good. And Yeah, I mean, and honestly, if we're going a little bit past the pay-per-view, I would say that the match with JC and Gigi was so good. I on Tuesday night, I was not expecting for it to be that good. I clearly am a big fan of Gigi. I think she's I've been a fan of her since she was Priscilla. I think she's definitely got that specialness about her. So
Right.
I think JC's like she's coming along. I believe that this heel character has definitely brought out things in her that I did not see before.
Yeah, I wasn't particularly impressed when she was a part of Toxic Attraction, but I think that as a heel, as a just a complete like opposite kind, it's kind of like Fire and Ice. She's more calculated, cold-blooded kind of versus Gigi's just all fire.
Yeah.
I just think the dichotomy, that's the word I was looking for. I think they have a good dichotomy.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I guess I will say it's kind of sad because, somewhere Mandy Rose is just very, very like happy that her girls are in such a bright light. You know what I mean? She was a little upset this week that the video package of all the women's champions and stuff that she was erased from that package, and she tweeted about it. But
was she
that's
really?
what they do.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, that's what they do. They took the Bellas out of everything. Now they're the Garcia twins. So, I mean, it happens. But
wait, what?
The Bellas are like almost. They've been almost like Benoit. Like they've been so outspoken about the company and stuff, and Nikki's been dropping. I don't know how you say like how what the proper terminology for this is, but she's been spilling secrets, like that you're not supposed to spill, and I think it's been coming off as pretty ungrateful to the company because they feel like they help make them.
So it's interesting, right? Because on the one hand, she's right about a lot of what she says.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, she should just be happy she was employed for as long as she was because she wasn't good.
Yeah, but I mean, like, there's a lot to be said, and clearly I'm not a fan of the Bellas. I know one of them is married to my favorite wrestler, but that doesn't mean I have to like you.
Right.
I guess I just feel like she did get better at the end of her run, and I think people are so irrational about her that they refuse to even admit that, which is kind of frustrating.
I guess because they're portrayed as these legends, and really they were just pretty bad wrestlers. And like, okay, what I said a few minutes ago sounded harsh, and what I mean to say is what she's saying needs to be said. I just don't know that she's the one to say it.
I guess I'm one of those people that never understood that sentiment. Like there's so many times where things are mentioned, whether it be sports or entertainment, and clearly this is both of those. But I hate when people say that, like, oh, it's the right message by the wrong messenger. Like somebody is saying it, and clearly the right messenger doesn't want to say it. So somebody needs to speak up. I don't think she's saying anything negative. She's just telling us that we're getting worked. That's it.
I guess just I wonder if people will take her seriously because, I mean, of who she is, what she represents.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I also feel like I guess in terms of, if we're getting back to the pay-per-views, I did see a lot of negativity with fan bases. Like it's AEW and WWE have become Marvel and DC. Like, and it used to be like, it's the way it used to be. You're either a fan of one or you're a fan of the other, and you just have to be so toxic about the other brand, and it's so frustrating. Like I posted a TikTok where I was just like, we just got 3 days of pro wrestling, and instead of being so happy that as like nerds, we got this. People are just being so toxic. And I don't understand it. Like,
I don't get it either. Like, I did want to say, like, because I know I come off a lot of times on this podcast as an AEW mark. I did really want to say, like, I couldn't even be bothered to try to stream it because I looked at the card and I was just like, I don't care about any of it. They did a bad job building that pay-per-view.
Yeah, I mean, the best way to put it to you is they're putting all of their, I guess, eggs in the Wembley basket. They're trying everything to just build that pay-per-view. And it's just like, well, we don't even know if it's a pay-per-view. So it's like, guys, like, let us know what the hell's going on here because we might not be able to watch it. So, like, if you're trying to do everything to build this,
we're going.
Oh, we're going to Wembley?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that'd be cool. Yeah, I mean, if you win the World Series of Poker, that would be great.
And that bracelet.
Yeah,
go win. We're probably gonna have to have nosebleed seats, but
whatever. I'll take it. I mean, the tickets there would be insane, but yeah, it'd be nice more than a grand show. I don't know. I have what you call that real ID, so I don't really need a passport. That is my passport. So
okay, I have a passport, so I'm good.
Yeah. Well,
Will Ashley let us take Arthur up to London?
Yeah, I believe she will. What do you mean?
Okay.
She just have to suck it up. Yeah. I guess. Yeah. I for me, I guess like the standouts of the whole weekend. Dragunov and Dijak I thought was great. The Elite versus the BCC was great. The Pillars match I thought was great.
The spot where they all did their mentors finish or whatever, that's just some really creative, I don't know who came up with it, but I really liked it.
It's so strange to me how everyone but Sting does the Scorpion Death Drop like a DDT, and he's the only one who does it the way he does it. Like, I've never seen anybody else do it his style, where he just kind of, like, drops. Like, he takes, like, a back bump, and it looks so much more ruthless. Like, even the way Darby did it, it almost looked like just like a regular DDT, just kind of sat out.
Right.
So I don't really I mean, I don't really I didn't have a problem with the spot. I guess I was just like, please don't ever do that move again. Like, next time, just do this death lock. You know, it's so much easier to do the sharpshooter. But yeah, right. No, I was very happy. I agree with you. I wanted to say something about MJF. There's a lot of people that believe that this whole him going to WWE thing would never work. I am under the impression that this man is so smart that he is giving wrestling fans what they want him to be right now. But in terms of if he went to the E and he needed to like PG it up where he just couldn't drop the F-bomb and he couldn't say like, you know, shit or things like that, I believe that he can do that. He doesn't need to right now. Right now, he's doing everything in his like power to get his character over, and that's why he's using those words.
Right, and his press conference was hilarious.
Yeah, I agree with you. Tony. Yeah, earmuffs. I love that. I think that's great. I love how he called New Japan an indie promotion. Because it clearly made people angry, and that's what his objective is. He's supposed to say stuff like, guys, we get it. We're in on it. Like, New Japan's not an indie promotion. We know that. But, you know, MJF is trying, like, Forbidden Door's coming up. He's saying he doesn't want to work it. He doesn't want to work these guys. There's a possibility he might work Okada or Tanahashi. Like, he has to, you know, talk crap on that company. That's what he's going to do. It's just so strange the way people act. But yeah, I mean, if there's not much else, I kind of wanted to just jump into some wrestling topics this week. There's just some things that have been kind of out there, but I kind of wanted to start with the news that broke today. I sent Tyler the link before he went to work today. There's this report that WWE has intentions to make Roman Reigns a superhero type babyface. And Tyler told me that, to wait for the pod. So what's your reaction to that?
I hate this so much.
Why?
Because he's just perfect the way he is. Why would you ever change it? And how can anyone ever... I mean, I guess you could have a redemption arc, right? But how could you ever see him as a face at this point, the way he's treated his family?
Because I believe that the way they do it is to have his family betray him. I believe he's the one who gets ultimately kicked out of the group. He's the one, and then they take on the heelish tactics.
I guess, but he deserves it.
Yeah, but I think it's one of those things where, I think this was the natural progression of the character. I think we were always going to get to a babyface. And, dude, this might be the longest heel run for a top guy that we've gotten in a long time. It's 3+ years of him being on top as a heel.
He's so good at it.
Yeah, he really is. But I think the whole intention was for them always to make him a babyface. I just think that this just kept going because he was so good. And I think that they're reversing the CM Punk thing. So when Punk became the World Heavyweight Champion and he beat Alberto Del Rio, he was a babyface. And when he started his 434-day streak, he was a babyface. And then right around when he had 100 days left, they made him a heel. I think they're doing the opposite here. I think Roman turns face for the rest of his run. And then clearly, right now, the problem is that there's so many heels in WWE that they don't have a top face on SmackDown right now. And I think they need one. I don't know how this works for Cody and Roman at WrestleMania 40. But
yeah, unless they just do a babyface match, or if they don't do it yet, or if they don't do it till after. Maybe after, because I read that article and it sounds like there's a lot of story that they want to get through and before this happens.
Yeah.
So they could still have Roman and Heyman and Solo together. Cody wins the title and Heyman and Solo betray him. And Heyman betraying him could potentially turn him to the face side.
Yeah, because honestly, so the way I look at it is when the Big Show betrayed, when Heyman joined the Big Show to leave
Lesnar, yeah.
Lesnar. So I think obviously Heyman's the one guy that can make this work.
Actually, I kind of really like that. And then the Usos and Solos, they're all brothers, and they reunite as the Bloodline with Heyman, and they're just running. I kind of really like that.
The one thing that will not work about this that I just have to point out is this will not work if Roman's a part-timer. He cannot be a superhero babyface if he's a part-timer. It just won't work. Because part of his heel qualities right now is that he is that he's a part-timer. It's something that people bring up. So how does it work if he's a babyface?
I mean, it's worked to some degree for Rock. It worked for Hogan.
No, Rocky was all in for that last run. He was all in. He was there for every Raw and every SmackDown. Yeah.
And then other than that, he was there, once every couple of months until then.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's right.
So
I don't know.
Hogan, Cena,
talk about Hogan. I don't think that they redo 2006, 2007 Cena. I think they learned from their mistakes. They made Cena polarizing by the way that they booked him.
Right. See, when I hear superhero babyface, those are the two guys I think of, though, are Hogan and Cena.
Yeah, I mean,
they're the ones that overcame the odds, and
yeah. Well, yeah, so let's move on to the next topic. So I sent Tyler this link of another great wrestling podcast called the K100 Show, and it's with Disco Inferno and Conan, who are legends of their own right. And they were
hold on. I can't let you do that. Did you just call Disco Inferno a legend?
Yes. Yes, he's a legend.
What is your criteria for legend?
He's a former TV champ.
Old wrestler?
So? I mean, I'm not going to, like...
Former wrestler?
Okay, well, it sounds to me like we're never going to be invited on their podcast now.
Sorry.
I mean, I personally believe Conan is a legend in 2 different countries.
Absolutely.
I think Disco Inferno has done a lot in professional wrestling, especially his early WCW days. And but they were commenting on something that Booker T had said, who is definitely a legend, who was talking about Bray Wyatt not being able to put together a good match. Now, if I remember correctly, Tyler's actually got a really great memory, so he might remember a lot more of this, like the context of it or how it was phrased. They talk about how Bray has not been able to take his story and turn it into a great or a good wrestling match, and their recommendation is for him to go like 90s Taker to do more like a brawler style because it would actually benefit him more. And I thought that Conan was going to disagree with Disco, but they actually agreed, which is something that doesn't happen on that show a lot. And that's why I sent it to Tyler, because I was just like, wow, this is 3 people, 3 like big names in pro wrestling, or at least 2 huge names in pro wrestling, and then Disco, who's a well-known name, and they're all sitting here telling us that, they're all sitting here telling us like, Bray's not it. And I just think that's super interesting.
Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I don't know if you were finished or not.
No, I'm done. Go ahead.
Okay. So first of all, let me just say, in his initial run, the first year and a half, 2 years, he was it. He was as over as any of those people you just mentioned have ever been in their life. There were 10,000 people. I've been in an arena with 10,000 people holding their cell phones up as he walks out to the ring.
Mm. Yeah.
The company screwed the pooch on that one.
So you're blaming the company for his inability to work.
No. To start with,
okay.
if he had worked properly from the start, he would be a top guy right now.
Yes, which is what they said.
Yeah. However, they screwed it up. He should never have lost the scene at Mania. It took until Chris Jericho decided to try to revive and save his persona and it didn't work because it was too late. He should have beaten Cena at WrestleMania. He should have won Money in the Bank. Probably been a champion in 2014 or 15 instead of what they did. And then, and maybe I understand that he did a lot of his own creative. Mm-hmm. So, because the one thing I did take issue with was they're saying, well, he had bad matches with Randy Orton and Randy Orton doesn't have bad matches. But they really didn't have wrestling matches. They had the match at Mania, which had a bunch of weird shit going on the projected on the mat or whatever, which maybe that was Bray's idea and someone needed to step in and be like, whoa, let's do something a little different here. Mm-hmm. We're on a track, but let's tweak it a bit,
Yeah.
Then they had that stupid the first cinematic match, I guess.
Yeah. The Sister Abigail match.
Which could have been something different if you just have like make it look like it's an old rickety ring out in some creepy woods and they're just having like a fight to the death, so to speak, although it's obviously not going to be to the death, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Make it look cool, not just like in some dingy shack in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So I think I think initially they screwed him over pretty hard. After that, I think he has to take at least some responsibility because they say that he does his own creative and like he's got some good ideas, but I think they just needed someone to rein him in and tweak him a bit, and it would have been a whole lot better. To say he's never had a good match, I just don't agree with that. I can name several.
Yeah, but like you say it all the time, like wrestling is like a circus and not everybody likes the same thing, but like these are guys who actually work. It's not me and you having a conversation. These are actually guys that work that that are saying he does not have a good match.
Okay, but here's the point. Here's the point I'm trying to make. I'll give them credit for what they've done in their career.
Yeah.
But as far as whether the match is good or not, our opinion should actually matter more because we're the ones that are going to pay to see it.
Yeah.
So if we don't like it, it doesn't make money. If they don't like it, well, too bad, really. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Talk about it on a podcast. And I can't believe Booker, who is employed by the company, unless this is a strategic thing by the company, was the one to start this.
Yeah. I thought that was really interesting. That's why I sent it to you. I thought it was really interesting.
Yeah, and I agree with some of what they said, and I do agree that maybe now is a time that we could tweak our style. I don't know about Taker so much as I think Mick Foley's later years.
I think they're talking about like American Badass. Like I don't think they're talking about like Taker, like Undertaker. I think they're talking about like, Bike, come in like this style and he could just be a brawler, like the end of Austin's run. Like I don't think that they're comparing him to Mick because Mick did that stuff because he didn't have a choice. Like his body was broken down. Ray's not.
He isn't, but he could still. I mean that goes a long way to hide some weaknesses, and then he could still have the character that he has, which is pretty cool sometimes.
Yeah,
and I just think the company a lot of times doesn't do enough to hide people's weaknesses.
Yes, this is something, and to be quite honest with you, the company has definitely made some mistakes because I harken back to the Karrion Kross thing and why he's not over. That promo with Adam Cole at NXT ruined Karrion Kross's WWE career. He has not been the same since that. Before that promo was cut, he was the hottest superstar, and it looked like he was going to come up. And then once that promo was cut, he just looked like, I don't know, it just reminded me of what Kevin Nash said in that interview, where he says that he had to go out there and he had to get torched on the mic by CM Punk, and they just kind of told him, just take it. And he's like, this guy's just killing me. Like he's taking all my heat away, and I'm not allowed to say anything back. Like that's kind of what it felt like, that they told Karrion, like, just take it. Whatever he's going to say, just take it. And it was just like, I don't get it. So that's kind of how I feel about Bray. We've talked about this on a previous podcast. I just feel like a lot of the blame should be on him. Like it's 10 years. We're going on 11 years since he's been a big name in WWE. And you would think that at this point in his career, he would just be like, all right, what's the one thing people say that is the worst about me? And if they're saying it's in-ring work, like, yeah, let's do what these guys say. Let's go to NXT. Let's go to the Performance Center. Let's get better at these little things. Let me change my style. Let me come in and just be an ass kicker. You know what I mean? He just hasn't done that stuff.
Yeah, I guess. The only thing I'll say is I remember talking to you right after that Mountain Dew match or whatever.
Yeah.
And we were both like, it was all right.
Yeah.
So but that's. I mean, I think that's the best you're gonna get from him. Like it was all right.
But
if we could get with the spooky lights and.
Yeah, so we're gonna segue onto our next topic, which is actually this match actually has something to do with. So apparently that match did not go over well.
Okay.
In the back, and me and Tyler came out of it both thinking the same thing, that LA Knight looked like the better person or better superstar in that match, but or he came out of that feud looking better, which is kind of hard to do according to Seth Rollins. And we talked about it, but clearly backstage, and I guess the overall reaction to the match between the internet wrestling community was not good about the match. So I guess they've been kind of pressuring him to do something he doesn't want to do, which is bring back the Fiend. And I know me and Tyler have talked about it. Like I absolutely loathe the Fiend character. I think all of it, the Mr. Rogers thing, all of it, I just think is not good. It's not compelling to me. And I've been very clear. I think Alexa Bliss did the character better than him. Clearly Bray doesn't like the character either. And obviously Tyler's not a fan of the character, which is weird because he loves everything Bray says.
I think it sucked. Yeah, but he's not cutting promos, which is the strongest part of his game.
Yeah.
Because he's either this monster who can't talk, or he's hidey-ho neighbor.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Is even his
Mr. Rogers is awesome, but I don't need it recreated in wrestling.
No. And the thing is, he wasn't coming off as Mr. Rogers. He was coming off as Ned Flanders. So it was like,
Right.
like it wasn't something. It just wasn't coming off great. And I don't know. I think the idea for it, which because I'm a movie buff, I could say that I think I pieced the characters together. I think he was trying to do like M. Night Shyamalan's Split, where it was like when James McAvoy did like the multiple characters in the movie. That's what it kind of felt like he was doing. But, not to say he's not a brilliant mind, because he is, but it just didn't come off well. And clearly he doesn't believe so either. And it looks like the company's pressuring him into bringing this character back.
Well, I think it sells merch. They have those. Mm-hmm. They can sell the masks. They can sell those. If you ever had the title again, they can sell those belts. I didn't like it. I think it, like I said, I think it took his biggest strength away from him.
Yeah.
And then also they weren't allowed to, like when he had matches, like Seth has even said, like they wouldn't let them do what they wanted to do. They made him do this. Mm-hmm. And he was like, Vince asked him about it. He was like, I thought it sucked, but I don't think it had to.
Well, see, I went back and watched the Red Hell in a Cell match because I wanted to know exactly what about this match had garnered so much hate. And I thought about it. It was the fact that, like, the way his character was created, it was almost like he was invincible. He took 8 stomps, right? And I was like, there's no way that's true. So I went back and watched it. He really did. And he just kept getting up. He kicked out of everything. Like, it was just like, oh, I'm like Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees all locked into one. And I'm just like, I'm here.
I remember watching that match and watching the first half of it being like, I kind of like the story they're telling. Yeah. And then it just goes to shit.
Yeah. Real bad. Real fast, too. It wasn't anything like, oh, yeah, let's like, this is something to rave about. There is literally nothing. There's literally nothing about that match that I feel like is memorable in a good way.
Right. Like it starts out okay and goes downhill from there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. And I don't think that did Seth or him any favors. I don't even want to address the video you sent me.
Oh, with the kid?
Yeah.
Oh, that I like that kid. That Nico Rodriguez. He's a good kid.
Save his life, and I'm just like, okay, bro, credibility gone.
No, that kid does really good stuff. You should watch some of his stuff. He actually puts these long 3-minute videos together to go through like a whole story. He's really good at what he does.
Okay, well, I vehemently disagree with him.
He must just not be a fan. Yeah, he must just not be a fan. But what I will say is he's not a fan like us. He is a full-blown mark. Like he absolutely, it's almost like he believes this stuff. Like he posts reactions of him, like when Roman wins a match or something, and he's like really angry and frustrated. So that's why I like him so much, because sometimes it's just nice to have like that perspective.
Well, I mean, I do that too to a degree. Like, I remember my exact reaction when Roman won a Mania. I said, "Fuck this company."
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So you, besides the merch, if it wasn't merchandising sales, do you think it's fair for WWE to force this guy to bring back a character he's not happy with?
Well, I don't think it's fair anyway, but I mean, I guess life's not fair. Mm-hmm. I just think it. No, I mean, I think first of all, it doesn't make sense. The character's not good, but he also doesn't want to do the buzzards. So
well, that's a little different though. Like,
I get it.
I know that you don't agree with that one. You feel like
I don't disagree. It's not for me to agree or disagree because it's his life. It was his friend, and you know, I can't hate on him for not wanting to do this because it makes him sad because it reminds him of his friend that's gone. Like, I can't hate on that. I wish he didn't feel that way. I almost just wonder if he would be better off being someone in creative and not necessarily having an on-screen role, because he doesn't want to do. He's very creative. He doesn't want to do the Fiend, and he doesn't want to do this, and I understand that. He's got a lot to give to the business with his mind, and maybe he'd be happier.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: I don't want anyone to be unhappy. I don't want.
Yeah.
Business should be fun.
Mm-hmm.
It should be enjoyable. Like, that's what we all grew up with. Was like, wrestling was fun.
Yeah. Well, since we were talking about being a little fun, let's have some fun with each other. How about it?
All right.
All right. So I wanted to bring this segment. So what I thought I would do is I thought that me and Tyler, we actually disagree on a decent amount when it comes to wrestling, guys. Like, I'm sure you've heard it in podcasts. We definitely disagree. Like, we've disagreed on Bray, we've disagreed on Mustafa, but I feel like last week's pod we actually agreed on the kid. We just felt really bad for him and the way he was.
I want to talk about him at some point here too. Let's do this.
I do feel like he was kind of screwed over though. Like, and they not only that, but another character change. Tyler, he goes to NXT and now he's just like not positive anymore. It was just like, what are you doing? Like, you finally got him over.
Well, he was over too. They were chanting his name.
Yeah, he was over there. Yeah. But yeah, so I wanted to do this fun segment. And I really looked this up before I not about our opinions. Our opinions are our opinions, but I looked up who are the two most polarizing women in pro wrestling. And I thought, what if we pitted them against each other? Who's actually better at this job? So, Tyler, let's talk about it. Who's better, Ronda Rousey, or Dr. Britt Baker, DMD? I'll let you go first.
Well, I'm going to start with this. Mm-hmm. Of the two, the one who's had the best singular match, is certainly Britt in her Lights Out match with Thunder Rosa. That is the best match of the two.
Ronda had a WrestleMania match that was considered by PWI the match of the year. She stole WrestleMania. You said that on this podcast.
Okay.
You said that the match with Angle, the tag match against the Authority, that was the match that should be talked about as the match that stole WrestleMania that year.
Yeah, because it was better than had any right to be. That doesn't mean it was great.
You're telling me that Thunder match, that garbage wrestling match, was better than Ronda versus Charlotte at Survivor Series?
Yes, I am. And also, wasn't that essentially the same thing? A garbage wrestling match, if you're going to call all hardcore?
That got Charlotte disqualified. That was the end. That was a beating after the match.
Which I would also like to point out, garbage wrestling is a certain type of hardcore wrestling in Japan, like FMW, where they use, light bulbs, and it's not all hardcore wrestling.
It's all hardcore.
You can't lump it all in together.
There's either death matches or whatever. Nick
I know those matches where weapons are used is not necessarily the same as a match where you're using light bulbs and forks and whatever the hell else they used.
It's not hyperbolic for me to tell you that JC and Gigi had a better hardcore match than Britt and Thunder Rosa.
100% is. No, I can't say that because honestly, I haven't seen their match yet.
And this is something Priscilla does. Gigi does really well. She's known on the indies for doing this style match. It's also like people don't even know this about Cora Jade. She's also a hardcore wrestler first. Dude. Okay.
Hold on, just a second. Off topic. Did she not just make a shirt?
Who?
Cora Jade, where she's got like either cut or bruises on her face or something. Or was that just a picture she posted?
It might have just been a picture. Yeah, because she had like a black eye from her match.
Okay.
In my opinion, in-ring work, transition from one move to another, as well as overall what they mean to pro wrestling, Ronda Rousey's so much better than Britt Baker.
What does Ronda Rousey mean to pro wrestling?
She means more eyes to pro wrestling. Britt Baker means nothing. Dude, let me tell you something right now. Ronda Rousey, I could wear a t-shirt of Ronda with a black eye, and people would know it's a wrestling shirt. They'd be like, whoa, that's a kick-ass shirt. Ronda looks like a badass. You wear a shirt like that with Britt Baker, and you get accused of wearing a domestic violence shirt. Britt Baker has a niche fan base, and she's not even as over as her boyfriend is. And she's supposed to be like the face of that division.
Okay, and he's one of the top guys in the company too, so.
Yeah, but to me, she's just not a good in-ring performer. There's nothing she does. That is not true. You know that. I can point out like 5 to 6 matches.
Second run.
It doesn't matter about the second run. They have the same length. They have the same length in professional wrestling together, so we have to look at their entire career.
Okay, since Ronda's been back, give me one.
Her match with Liv. Her one-on-one match with Liv, where she beats Liv for the title. That was a good match.
I don't agree. I don't think they had any good matches.
Well, that's just completely wrong. Ronda has had great matches with Sasha Banks, Bayley, Charlotte. She's had great matches with Nia Jax. There you go. I want to see Britt Baker pull off a good match. Money in the Bank against Nia Jax. I swear people thought Nia turned it around. I remember looking on Twitter after that match and people being like, wow, if this is the Nia we get, yeah, we're excited for Nia. And what happened? What did that match do for Nia? Oh, yeah, it got her a title win against Alexa Bliss. She moved on.
Ronda, in her first run, was very good. And then she got booed, and then she got boo-boo faced, and she hasn't been the same since.
So being a mark doesn't make you a bad wrestler.
But she hasn't been good since. That's my point.
And if you're talking about boo-boo face, you're not gonna sit here and say that like Britt Baker doesn't jump on Twitter to attack wrestling fans. She comments on right now. I could post something to Britt Baker telling her that she's a trash wrestler. Performance. It does. She is Tyler. I would say this, and I'm not exaggerating because I know you tell me that I like to exaggerate things. Have you ever seen the movie Zootopia?
Yeah.
Okay. They go to the DMV and there's this sloth.
Oh my God.
Right?
Because you saw that one clip.
No, dude. I just watched her perform the worst match on Wednesday night.
Oh my God. The internet is going insane about how great that match was, and you said it's the worst match. That's my point. That's what we argue about.
What internet? I haven't seen anything where people are talking about that match as a good match.
Apparently, we don't follow the same people because my personal feed is lit up with people talking about how good that match
was. But you
was.
also said that you're an AEW mark, and you come off that way. So if you're posting nothing but nice things about AEW, and then all of a sudden you see something nice about AEW, like I'm not doing that for either company.
I saw lots of it, though. That's the point.
I follow Britt Baker on my personal Twitter. I follow Saraya. I follow Jericho. I follow Adam Cole. And I follow AEW and all of their stuff, and I have not seen anybody rave about this match. If anything, what they're talking about is Orange Cassidy. That's what everybody comes out talking about, is Orange Cassidy.
I've seen several, because Jericho and Britt both retweet every compliment they ever get.
Of course they do. They're marks for themselves.
So, like I said, I've seen several.
Chris Jericho is a bigger mark for himself than Bret Hart is. It is ridiculous.
I don't know about that.
No, come on now.
But I'm glad you said that because it reminded me of something I want to talk about.
Jericho, somebody just commented about Chris Jericho about his lack of storytelling, and his answer was to tell the guy to go F himself in the ass. That was his most recent thing.
He's a heel.
He's a but he's a professional wrestler who's attacking someone on Twitter. Like, it's crazy. And also, I don't see – and not only that, if we're going to go shoot here for a second, if we're going to talk about something shoot for a second, I believe what Ronda Rousey's doing for women's wrestling is way better than what Britt Baker does. Britt Baker goes on a television show every Wednesday night to trash another female performer and to talk about her.
Would that be the that just had to apologize to the entire locker room?
Okay, well, what was the apology about?
I'm honestly not sure.
It was Britt Baker that asked for the apology. She just kept putting it out there. She should be here, even if she's hurt. She's on Busted Open. Dude, she was on Busted Open at her house. I'm sorry that she was on Busted. She wasn't in the studio. She made her apologize to the whole locker room because she's supposed to be the locker room leader. Even people have attacked the women in AEW about this, and Saraya needed to come out and be like, it's nobody's business what she needed to apologize for. It was just accepted, and that's it. Like, so it's clearly Saraya has been super open about everything. She has not hidden anything, but she will not say what this is about. That means that this was a personal vendetta between two superstars or two stars, and one of them was told by her best friend, you have to let this go. I just can't. I can't do it. And on the other side, you have Ronda Rousey going on Sports Illustrated talking about the lack of opportunity for young women in professional wrestling. You're telling me Britt Baker's better at anything?
That has nothing to do with their in-ring performance whatsoever.
But it has a lot to do with it, because if Ronda's being forced to work the same exact people every single time, and let me tell you, after the botch with Shotzi, since then, she hasn't put on a bad spot with Shotzi. They got dragged by the internet, which literally Orange Cassidy just did the same exact spot, took the same exact bump Ronda did, and nobody dragged him for it at all, because anytime AEW makes a botch or a mistake, no fans will dare comment about it. Like, that's just how it is. They just have this niche group of fans. I just saw Dave Meltzer give that main event. I'm a Bryan Danielson fan. This podcast knows that. Anybody who listens to this podcast will tell you. He just gave 5 stars to that main event and then gave 4 stars to Ilya Dragunov versus Dijak. Like, that wasn't like a match of the year candidate.
Right, yeah. I mean, that main event was fun, but I think 3 is where it probably tops out.
That's what I mean. Like, it's just like, you tell me that I, like, okay, so you mentioned, like, oh, everybody in the wrestling fan base, like, likes this specific thing and you don't like it or whatever. This is how I feel about AEW. If you don't like their stuff, you're just, like, a terrible wrestling fan. That's what it seems like.
To me, it's fine if you don't like it, but acknowledge that, you know, this is my opinion.
Well, in my opinion, Britt Baker might be worse than Summer Rae.
And in my opinion, you're wrong.
Okay. Well, I just think that when I look at the women's roster in AEW, I wholeheartedly swear, if Jesus Christ were here right now, I would swear on my son and my daughter that I think she is the worst in-ring performer on the entire roster.
Okay. You're allowed to think that. That's fine.
But Ronda's not the worst in her company.
She's not, but okay, is Raquel, is she an MMA? Was she an MMA performer? Fighter?
Raquel Rodriguez?
Raquel Rodriguez.
I don't know. I don't think so.
Okay. So it's just Shayna and yeah. Why can't I think of her name?
Shayna, Sonya, and Ronda.
Those are so she's the third. She's the third best MMA fighter in WWE, as far as a professional wrestler.
No,
she's the third best.
She's the best. She's the best out of all three. She's the most complete performer. Not only that, but she's also gotten better on the mic. So it's like she's even her like weak point, she's doing well because she's a natural heel.
Well, I guess I am supposed to hate her, so. And like I don't want to drag her because I know she's important to you. So I don't want to be rude about it. I just nothing about her that I like. Nothing about her that interests me.
So I think this is one of those things where like sometimes I feel like people get like mixed in, kind of like, you know, cold clothes in like a laundry. And she's been kind of thrown in like with Braun Breaker, Brock Lesnar. She's been kind of thrown into that like category of like, you're supposed to be super dominant. Because I don't think you were a fan of NXT Shayna either, were you? You didn't like how dominant she was.
I didn't like a lot of it. I liked the matches she had with like Kairi. Kairi Sane.
Yeah,
She wrestled the Ember, right?
Ember, yeah.
Yeah, I like those matches. I didn't like some of the dominant. I don't like dominant champions. So you're right there. And I did like a lot of what Ronda did on her first run. I think she soured me when she said all that ridiculous stuff.
What, the stuff about like wrestling fans?
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing is, like, I think that's one of those things where we don't know, like, how much of that was work and how much of it is shoot. And the reason I feel that way is because, like, Becky commented on it. And I don't, like, They've always been trying to play up their feud.
And so the difference between that and Britt, to me, is, like, she's one of us. And I guess Ronda came off to me as acting like she's above it.
What do you mean Britt's one of us? I don't.
She's a professional wrestler. She's not like this isn't her second career to make a buck.
But it is her second career to make a buck. She's made it very obvious that she's a dentist first. She's told us that on multiple occasions.
I think she spent a lot of money and a lot of time becoming a dentist, so she feels she needs to see that through. Mm-hmm. But it's very clear that she loves professional wrestling.
Yeah,
and I mean, I don't necessarily see that from Ronda. I think she tries to come off like she's above it sometimes.
I don't know. I don't really see that. I can't see her advocating for the women the way she does if she feels like she's above it. I just can't. How do you? No,
and I get that, and I get that now. But what I'm talking about is before.
Yeah,
and like you said, maybe it was a word.
Yeah. I just feel like there's so much that has come out about Britt Baker, like rumor wise, that have just made her, and then all AW All Access, which has kind of made her look real bad. And then there's so much that has come out about Ronda behind the scenes, like her like only taking the title as long as she dropped it to Liv, her not wanting to be champion so more women can get stories because only champions get stories, her being outspoken about the women's roster and how thin it is, which is that might be one of the most asinine things. There are 30 women on the main roster right now. 30. I counted it the other day. There's 30 women on the main roster. It's crazy. And this idiot, JD from New York, who's on Twitter, he just like he's the most misogynistic pig I've ever heard in terms of like women's wrestling, and I don't even care if like I talk about him on here and somebody like saves this clip and tells him. I would love to like argue with him on here. He just comes off as like the other day it was tweeted that Trish Stratus is now going to be working more shows, and he's like, who asked for this? We're supposed to be getting new stores. What?
I did after that banger the other night.
Well, that's what I mean. He's like, who asked for this? And he's like, we're supposed to be building new stars. I was like, I tweeted back at him. I was like, you do understand she's working with Zoe Stark, who's been on the roster for a week and a half. Like, you're asking for new stars. She's literally making a new star right in front of us. And that's like, are you watching the product or just in it to complain about women's wrestling? Because they're so frustrating.
Right. Like, especially because like we're in an era right now where it's so good.
Yeah, everything is turning out really well, and we're slowly getting the man back. Like the whole bloody face, and she's gonna get you back, and she's gonna do this all herself. Like it's gonna work. But yeah, moving on to that, I just want to bring up something. So this today, and this isn't like breaking news, like a rumor. This is actually a report, and it was confirmed by the next tweet and then confirmed by WWE. So Seth freaking Rollins officially opened the World Heavyweight Championship Open Challenge for Monday night. Seconds later, Tyler, the challenge was accepted by Damian Priest, and the main event of Monday Night Raw, per WWE.com or per WWE's Twitter account, is Damian Priest versus Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship.
That's awesome. I hadn't seen that it had been accepted.
Yeah.
So is this going to be a weekly thing?
That's what I believe he's doing. I think so. So all the information came out this week. There was so much stuff that said that he needed to leave Saudi to go finish filming Captain America. He's done. He's been done for 2 weeks. Like he's already been done. He didn't need to leave anything. That's why he was able to cut that promo backstage. That's why he was able to be there on Raw. Like there was none of that was true. And he's officially there to defend the championship every week, just like Triple H said. So I think this is exciting, man. I think it's great.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, obviously breaking news just happened because the picture's circulating everywhere on the internet. Triple H just gave Roman Reigns his new championship. So now Roman has one title.
One title.
The undisputed WWE championship.
Okay.
Yeah.
Damn, because I had a good idea to have him lose both without losing. You remember the Euro Continental Triple Threat?
Oh yeah, that would be cool.
I was thinking about doing that with the Usos.
Yeah, I like that. Well, apparently there was some segment tonight. I think it's a schmoz. I think it's BS. It's probably just setting up Money in the Bank, where the Solo abandoned Roman and left with the Usos.
Huh.
Right after his celebration. So.
Okay.
So
yeah, I was gonna watch SmackDown tonight before we decided to record tonight, but
no, that's cool. But is there anything else you want to go over, or do you want to jump right into intermission?
No, there were a couple things.
Go for it.
Oh, we mentioned him, Ali. I did want to mention, showing up in NXT and the crowd going nuts for him.
Yeah.
I think maybe that's a home for him.
Yeah, I like it.
I think maybe they may have made a trade, essentially. Because it sounds like Dragunov and Braun are both coming up.
Yeah.
So maybe it's Corbin and Ali for Dragunov and Braun.
Yeah. I could not think of a better person to help get Carmelo ready for the main roster to get him over because people universally hate Baron Corbin.
Right, and he's the kind of guy that can get heat on a little guy like Carmelo.
I will tell you this, Tyler, and I mean this. If he goes back to the lone wolf character, it's going to be tough for them not to put the strap on him because people loved that character.
Yeah, at some point, yeah, for sure, and I don't have a problem with that. Because I love that character.
Yeah, I was a really big fan. I was excited when he came up to the main roster. I thought it was gonna, he was gonna be bigger than he was.
Right. So, like, I think that would be great if they do that. So I think both of those guys could do with a little reset. Although, man, Ali just seemed to start to just be getting it. Be getting it.
Yeah. They actually talk about that. They actually talk about that on K100 this week, where somebody from I think Brussels emailed in, and he said that he finds it really racist that WWE does this, like, let me put this guy over in their home country, and then when they get back from that home country, it's like they've forgotten about him. Like, it's not like when wrestlers go to Canada like an Edge and then they come back and they're still is over and they keep pushing that guy. Guys like Mustafa and guys like Jinder Mahal, they go to India, they go to, Saudi Arabia, and then they come back and it's like, all right, well, we're done with you.
Right. Well, Jinder was champion for 6 months because they were going to go to India.
Yeah. And whatever. I mean, he got over. So you can say whatever you want. People hated the shit out of him. He was over. That means you're over, guys, if people hate you. So
right.
They didn't change the channel when he was on. That apparently was only reserved for early Miz.
There was a match that was supposed to happen between, I think they just came onto the main roster, Indus Sher and the Creed brothers. And one of the Indus Sher guys had a minor injury. So they postponed that match for like over a couple months so that he would be able to work a show in India. So, yeah, I agree. I mean, I guess if they feel like they need, I don't know. I guess they feel like they need local, I don't know. It's on the one hand, representation is important.
Yeah.
On the other hand, if you're just using, like, it's not like they let them be representative on a weekly basis or whatever. Although Ali has been getting a push for several months now.
Yeah, pretty much ever since he said he wanted to leave, they've kind of just like kept putting him on television.
Right.
But going on to there, I don't know if this is what you were going to talk about, but since we mentioned Bret Hart earlier, since I mentioned I wanted to talk about, everybody says so much negative stuff about Bret, but this week he came out and he was very, very graceful, and he had a lot of praise for Rey Mysterio Jr., and he said he considered Rey one of the greatest wrestlers of all time, regardless of size, and says that that's actually one of his biggest regrets is not being able to work Rey. I just thought it was really cool because we always get all these terrible clips from Bret. I feel like maybe the universe is finally listening to me and they're asking him other questions because
but wait, there's more.
Really good. What?
We'll finish this first.
Oh no, I just wanted to say I just think that's great that like finally we got a good clip of him out there. I
wonder why they didn't have any interaction when they were in WCW together, but yeah. So in the same interview, I don't know if it's the same interview, but it's in the same Sportskeeda article. He says like he's trying to praise Roddy Piper, but he can't help himself, and he says like he passed the torch like guys like Hogan and Jake didn't. And I'm just like, didn't Jake the Snake job to Taker in the same pay-per-view that Roddy lost to you? And Taker was just a new guy? Like, that's one of the first matches of the streak is Jake losing to Taker. So is that not passing the torch?
I don't.
Like, what do you want him to do?
Pass it to him?
Well, does everyone have to pass it to him?
So see, like, you're just like the rest of the internet. He says two amazing things about two amazing professional wrestlers.
But he couldn't help but
fault in what he said. So?
He can help himself.
But so what? It's like, he didn't say it about, like, good people. He just said it about Hogan. Are we defending Hogan now?
No, my issue was with Jake. Like, first of all, what torch was there to pass? And second of all, he lost to younger guys. I mean, he's, A legend.
Yeah, he's so much a legend that he couldn't get Vince to put the strap on him. He blamed
Because he was a drunk.
Ultimate Warrior for that. Well,
So
I mean, that's his fault.
I could say the same thing about a guy that we both love, Scott Hall.
He didn't win the world title.
Exactly. And you know why he didn't win the world title? Because he wasn't reliable.
He got to main event the pay-per-view with Sting for the world championship. He got to win World War III, so he got his spots. He's universally known for having the greatest ladder match of all time. Like that's what everybody believes. Even ladder match, even guys that have been in ladder matches say that like that Shawn Michaels ladder match is still number one. So if they feel that way,
not to be polite.
They're not saying it to be polite. Some of those guys don't even work for the company anymore. They don't need to be nice to Shawn.
It's certainly not the greatest of all time.
That's your opinion, but I'm going to take the opinion of guys that have done it. Respectfully.
Okay, well, do you honestly think it's the greatest ladder match of all time?
I mean,
the first Mania one.
I like it. I personally like the No Mercy contract match for Terry Reynolds, the Hardys versus Edge and Christian. That's my favorite ladder match.
I don't even think it's the best ladder match Shawn Michaels was in.
You think the Jericho match is better?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, that's fine. We're all allowed to have our opinion, but like professional.
And I don't think that's the best ladder match Chris Jericho was in.
Yeah, but we're not going to talk about that one. But yeah, I agree with you there. But he just had unbelievable chemistry with that guy.
Yes. Yes, I know. They could wrestle, phone booth, and it would be
He had better chemistry with him than Eddie did. I know everybody loves the Eddie matches, but like I felt like Jericho and him would just work better together.
I actually think Eddie and Jericho had better chemistry than those two.
Yeah. That's why I say so much about Owen and Eddie being so similar, because I feel like they're very much the same. It's very strange, but at least we got
what pay-per-view did Eddie and Jericho wrestle for the Cruiserweight? Was it? Okay. I need to watch that again. It's so good.
Yeah, that was a good match.
It was on Jericho's DVD, the first DVD they did. Or I think maybe the only DVD they did.
I have that one, the Y2J DVD.
I sold it.
Okay. Well, how about we move into intermission now?
Yeah, let's
all right.
So you want me to kick it off with this day in wrestling history?
Yeah, go for it, man.
On this day in wrestling history in 1987, the Honky Tonk Man won the Intercontinental title to start his illustrious longest reign in history by beating Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
I love that. I absolutely love that. And I think it's so topical because right now we're about to hit history with Gunther.
Do you think he breaks it?
I do.
Yeah.
I think they're all about streaks and the reason that I believe that WWE is all about streaks right now is because they've just brought up that Austin Theory's streak as United States champion is 209 days. So.
Has he had it that long?
Yeah.
Survivor Series that long ago?
I suppose.
I guess.
209 days. He just said it tonight on SmackDown. I watched the clip. He said with Roman Reigns' 1,000-day reign, and plus his, if they combine the titles, that it would be a 1,209-day reign. And I was like, whoa. I didn't realize he held the title. I thought they said 188 earlier on Twitter, but I guess, it could be like.
Well, Roman's past 1,000 now, though, so it could be.
Yeah, okay.
No, it's not that far past, because it was Saturday. It was the 1,000 days, right?
Yeah. So I wanted to change this up a little bit. Instead of doing like wrestling quote, what I wanted to do is I wanted to throw callbacks and talk about some of the greatest promos in wrestling history. So here's a snippet of one of the best promos that is, believe it or not, a lot of wrestlers and wrestling fans universally agree that this might be the greatest promo ever cut. So here it is. All I've seen in ECW is a bunch of violent crap.
Yeah,
and that's exactly what I call it. because that's exactly what it is. Steve Austin is here to wrestle. It's what I do best. It's what I do better than anybody in the world. Dean Malenko, Eddie Guerrero, they all got a big send-off. Tears were in everyone's eyes. It was a big deal. All Steve Austin got was a good swift kick in the ass. Bischoff hung up the phone and left me high and dry. There's no Hogans here. There's no Flairs here. There's not even a Dusty Rhodes. And there damn sure isn't an Eric Bischoff here. There's no one that can hold back Steve Austin now. Stunning, toss it out the window. Never was meant to be. That's only a snippet. That promo goes on for a hot minute.
Yeah, I would try to watch it all once a year.
Yeah, that is a really good promo, man. Yeah.
I was going to ask you before you started if I had left you a voice message imitating the promo, because I thought you might have been going to Hard Times.
Oh, okay. No. I do like the Hard Times promo, though. Yeah. So, do you have a wrestling question?
I do.
Okay.
So, in '97, after SummerSlam, when Shawn Michaels was the guest referee and he hit the Undertaker with a chair, he basically turned heel.
Heart and soul, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, a few weeks later, DX had their first official tag match on TV. In that match, they faced two guys who were teaming up for the first and, as best I can tell, only time on television.
Mm.
They're two singles stars who are both champions, both Hall of Famers. They've been rivals before and after this. But they teamed up to face Shawn and Triple H on Raw on August 18th, 1997 from Atlantic City. Can you name those two superstars?
I don't think I can. I was still living in Puerto Rico. So everything came to me late. I didn't move here until November that year.
Okay.
Yeah, so...
Hey, a lot of good things happened that year.
Yeah. So, yeah, I have to pass on that one.
It was The Undertaker and Mankind versus Shawn Michaels and Triple H. Yes.
Holy crap. That was the first DX tag match.
And I believe it's Taker gets busted wide open.
Nice.
I hadn't even thought about it in years, and I was watching the when I'm up at my parents, they don't have cable in the room I sleep in or any internet, so I just have the old school DVD player.
Yeah.
And I had the Undertaker one of his DVDs. I don't remember which one it is. But it has the Ground Zero match between him and Shawn. The first singles match.
Oh, okay.
And so it shows, like in the video package leading into the match, it shows highlights.
Oh, nice. I don't understand how AEW does things like they're doing. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be rude or anything on the...
You watching Rampage?
I am, but why is Zack Sabre Jr. on Rampage?
I don't know.
Is he not a big enough name? Is he not a big enough name to be on Dynamite?
He's in Ring of Honor.
But, like, me cago en la madre. I don't know. I guess it just feels like a waste of a talent. Like he's
You're not wrong.
He's a global super. Yeah, whatever.
Who's he wrestling?
That Action Andretti.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm not.
But the thing about Zack Sabre is that because of his style, he can work a cruiserweight like this guy, and they're putting on a really decent match here. But
yeah, I saw him. I saw him wrestle. I don't freaking remember who I saw him wrestle. He defended the New Japan TV title at the Ring of Honor taping I went to.
Oh, nice. Okay.
This is the opener.
All right. Well, guys, our match of the week this week, Tyler and I both really enjoyed. It is from 2016 Money in the Bank. It is the main event. It is Seth Rollins' return to the world title scene as he wrestles then current champion, the big dog, Roman Reigns. This match is so good, right?
It's incredible.
Yeah.
And I remember watching it because I'm rooting for Seth.
Yeah, me too.
And it's just like the drama of just like it feels like he can win, and I guess ultimately he does.
Yeah. But what I loved about it was I loved how Roman made me like I was already like a fan at this point. I was kind of like teetering towards like, okay, I'm gonna start like actually rooting for Roman. Check it like, and what I loved about it was the Bret Hart and Diesel spot at the end. Not necessarily the roll up, but at the end for the pedigree, how like Roman pretended that he was just out. You know what I mean? Like he was just like completely knocked out where like Seth had to pick him up by one arm and then he had to use his flak jacket to finish getting him up. And then he hits the pedigree to beat him. And even the way he hits the pedigree, it's almost like it almost looks, if you don't know professional wrestling, it looks like Roman sandbagged him, but he didn't. It was such a good ending to the match. I loved it. And that segues us into our long-form topic of the week, guys. So this week, because it is the next pay-per-view, we wanted to talk about our favorite Money in the Bank moments. Now, I should be clear. This is not just the pay-per-view. This is also Money in the Bank. So if Tyler or I felt like a cash-in was more important to us individually as the actual pay-per-view, that's what we did, because we have 6 matches here, and then at the very end, the last match before we close the podcast, we will talk about that me and Tyler talked about is CM Punk versus John Cena, because it is possibly the best Money in the Bank match ever.
I should be watching it by then because that's the pay-per-view I have on right now.
Oh, there you go. All right, so yeah, so I don't know. Do you really care if we do it in chronological order? Since
no,
you actually okay. So, since we just talked about the actual match from 2016, I guess we'll start there. And one of my favorite moments from Money in the Bank is actually from 2016, and it is after Seth wins the world title. Ambrose music hits, and he comes out, hits the Dirty Deeds, and in one night, all 3 members of the Shield win the WWE Championship. And I just can't get over that happened. I would never think it would happen without like a finger poke of doom type of situation. It was organic. It was beautiful. And I love Ambrose's reign as world champion. I love it. Loved every single match he ever had as world champ. I loved his first promo showing up and forgetting the WWE Championship in the taxi the next night. Everything about Ambrose, everything about Dean Ambrose until he came back as Bane, I thought was awesome.
Back as Bane. Yeah. I mean, I was really happy when Seth won the title, so I kind of didn't love it. But at the same time, it was a cool moment because I felt like he should have had it before then. I felt like it should have been him winning it at Mania.
Okay.
With Triple H. But, yeah, man. I mean, it's a great moment. It's certainly the peak of his time in WWE, I'd say.
Agreed.
The matches that him and Seth have over the course of the next month are certainly their best matches.
Yeah. You think they're better than the Authority, Seth Rollins versus Ambrose?
The one match from that is great. The one where he does the stomp on the brick.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think overall, the one where they have the one that I believe it ended in a draw.
Yeah.
That match is unbelievable.
Yeah. You know, an underrated match from Ambrose's time where people don't talk about is the triple threat match from the Shield, where everybody thought Roman was going to win the title back, or Seth was going to win it, and Ambrose actually wins and goes to SmackDown as champion. That match is really good, and I don't know why it's never talked about. It's the one time we got the three of them to work each other. It was great.
I don't know that I've seen it.
Yeah, all of so the Raw and SmackDown like GMs are all outside the ring, and like Ambrose wins, and they take the WWE Championship to SmackDown, and that's when they create the Universal Championship.
The Universal Championship.
Yeah.
Is it all on pay-per-view?
I don't believe so. I don't remember if it's on a pay-per-view or not. I just know that they worked each other. I know that I love the match. I don't think Ambrose himself, or I don't think Moxley himself is too fond of that match. He does love every match he's ever had with Seth. He talks about it a lot in his book. Like, him and Seth could work each other forever. He also talks a lot about what?
Sorry.
No,
including that complete dud they had.
Is that Bane Ambrose though?
It was after he turned heel.
Yeah, he doesn't like anything about that run. He didn't even that heel run is possibly why he left the company.
Well, I mean, it definitely is, but that match, I don't understand. They've had such amazing matches, and then
he was checked out.
That match just sucked.
Yeah, he was checked out by that point. But Tyler, what's your first Money in the Bank moment then?
Okay, so my first is the very first Money in the Bank cash-in. When Edge comes out after the Elimination Chamber match, Vince McMahon comes out and says, "Congratulations to John Cena, but there is one more match because this individual is cashing in his Money in the Bank privileges." And man, because we didn't know at the time what Money in the Bank was even going to be.
Yeah,
I think Edge had the rug pulled out from under him so many times that I think I just kind of assumed that he would lose. Yeah, me too. So when he cashes in and wins the title, it's like, finally. It's like such a long time coming. Yeah. And so deserved. And
so I actually have
happy.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I agree with you. I actually have a personal story about that match, and then I have a fun fact about the match. If you want to hear the fun fact,
sure.
Personal story is I had just kind of moved to Pennsylvania here, and I was living by myself. Like I didn't have a girlfriend, I didn't have a lot of friends or anything like that, and Edge, like I watched that. Pay-per-view. I believe it was New Year's Revolution, right?
Yeah.
And I watched that pay-per-view like really excited because I thought Carlito was going to win. And I was just like, oh, they're going to put the title on Carlito. I'm excited. And
you're breaking up real bad.
And obviously,
folks, I don't know. I think we might have some technical difficulties with Lewis. I don't know if you can hear me. If you can't hear him, he's talking about
he doesn't.
He was very. Bro, you're frozen.
And Edge wins.
You're also
Edge comes out and wins, but I remember like I was watching that in my studio apartment on an air mattress while my television is on the floor.